whatever these guys do, however, and this is how they do business. It's tarnish, it's tear apart the reputation, it's go after the person instead of going after what might be a problem.
You go to an intelligence seminar upon invite, nothing unusual, in Cambridge in 2015. And at that dinner, nothing happens. Nobody alleged anything unusual happens. It was a standard intelligence seminar. You were in intelligence. But a woman by the name of Svetlana Lakova is there. She's seated with you at the table. You go to the intelligence seminar, you did the grip and grin, shook hands, talked to everyone. You leave, no allegations of impropriety whatsoever. You were told everybody, you had done all the appropriate briefings. Nobody with you alleged anything. But years later, this pernicious rumor starts out of nowhere, nothing to back it up at all, that there was some impropriety between you and the woman after this 2015 meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Were you reading that for the first time? Like, what the hell? Pardon my French. Are you guys even talking about? Like, this is totally out of the blue.
Exactly. And so what this was all about was because during this time when this sort of started to bubble up, I'm right there I'm standing by the side of Donald Trump, who is just, he's screaming through the primaries. He's now, the candidate for the Republican Party. You go through the convention. We're out there at campaign rallies, and it's looking and feeling really good. And so all of a sudden, it's like, okay, whatever these guys do, however, and this is how they do business. It's tarnish, it's tear apart the reputation, it's go after the person instead of going after what might be a problem. If these guys really were, the FBI and the CIA, for that matter, were, there's a few people in there that are okay, but if they were really good at counterintelligence, they're not going to be looking at me. They should be. There's much bigger problems that we have in the world of counterintelligence. So what it was all political. It was all about finding ways that we could tarnish this guy. I mean, like the president told me the other day when he spoke to me about the pardon, which I really appreciate. He says, you're probably the cleanest guy in the world, and he's right. He's right, because they Dan dug into my entire life, and at the time I didn't know that they were doing that. They're listening to all my calls. They're doing all these things, right? They're doing all these things, and you're saying to yourself after, when I begin to really realize, and again, I don't want to get too deep into it, but you begin to realize, wow, these guys are really talk about some snakes. But when I step back and I look at it all, let's just use Peter Strzok having an affair with the not just right. a woman, but having an affair with Lisa Page, who was the number 2 lawyer at the FBI, working directly for the deputy director of the FBI. So she is in the FBI, and you have this going on, this guy, and they're doing texting and all this communications in a very public way, meaning it's interceptable by our adversaries out there. And they're having an affair. And this guy's running counterintelligence operations. Dan, with your background, you know how bad that is. Nobody ever talks about that. I mean, you're talking about, talk about compromise. So Mike Flynn is I'm not clean as snow because I'm an imperfect guy. But I would tell you that I feel, sorry that that gal, Slakova was dragged into this, and they don't care. They don't care how they treated her. The system didn't care how they treated her. They didn't care that they really hurt her badly. And I apologize for our government's apparatus for doing that to her. But I would just say that people need to look at the kinds of things that these people were doing in the Obama administration, and how egregious, insidious this is. And they thought that they were going to get away with it. I'll tell you why they weren't going to get away with it, because they got caught. So they got caught up in this whole thing, and thank God for what we were able to do with Miss Powell, who's just a champion, a warrior. to be able to extract out of the government, the kinds of things that help me get to the position I'm in now, but also the compromise that these people put our country in. Because it's not just Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. It's all these people and all these text messages and all this information that's going back and forth on unclassified systems. That, Dan, I'm telling you, China, we worry about China, we worry about Russia, we worry about all these other countries. Yeah. If you were to ask me, did they know? Are they getting all that information? You're damn right they are. All that information is readily available to these countries who are very sophisticated collectors of information and intelligence, and they knew what was going on better than what our government professed to, because they didn't want the embarrassment.
You just heard Dan Bongino.